All right, so we have one more lesson. Everything today is calculator, okay? So pencils don't even really need, well, I mean, you need to write, but like you're not going to have a lot of like workspace and stuff because it is all done in the calculator. That being said, though, there's a lot of things we're going to go over with the calculator, but I kind of started talking about it last time. I will be checking the rest of your homework next class, okay? So 5.4 only had 4 problems. 5.3 really only has 2 problems, but there's like multiple parts. So I'm going to check those. You really only need work on 5.4. 5.5, again, it's calculator stuff. So I'll check those. We have a CFU over those 2 sections. It's like 3 questions, I think. And then it's test review. Test is next time. Okay? If you have your 5.4 homework, I have the answers if you want to check your answers. But yeah, so that's what we're doing. Last lesson, hopefully this stuff is familiar to you. And hopefully topic 2 is fairly easy, okay? All right, so page 13 here goes through all of your calculator steps. I'm not going to read all of this to you because that would be kind of dumb. You can read yourself. But just so you see, here are the things that I'm going to expect you to be able to do in the calculator. I'm going to expect you to be able to calculate a vertex. Keywords here are minimums and maximums. So when you see a problem, one thing, like these are word problems. We don't always love those. But you need to be able to like reason through the word problem and figure out what I'm actually asking you to find. So maximum, minimum, maximize, minimize, highest, lowest. Those are kind of all your keywords for, hey, you're looking for a vertex. Now remember, the vertex is a point. And so sometimes I'm asking for like, just the y value of that. Or sometimes I'm asking for the x value. Or sometimes I want both. So context clues. The other thing that you're going to be able to calculate is your zeros, aka roots, x-intercepts. A lot of times in these stories, it's like written as like a landing point or a ending point or things like that. Again, when you take it to the actual story that goes with it, it's like when the event is over is usually going to be one of your roots. I will say with calculating these, the way that we taught you or that we wrote out the instructions here is using an intersection point. It's not the only way to do it, but it is the one way that I teach it because it keeps it consistent. We've already done intersections. We did that last class. So it's just showing you how to do an intersection to find an x-intercept. So that's kind of the way I teach it. But there is other ways. If you already know that, you can probably still get it right. That's the way we do it. And then the other last thing is how to find a quadratic equation, which this you probably have seen before, but we'll do a refresher. It's a quadratic regression. So when you put values into stat in your calculator, you put in a table of values, and then you go stat, calculate. Algebra 1, you probably did linreg. For us, we'll be doing quadratic regression, okay? So I may kind of flip back to these as we go through some problems, but we have a handful here. I think we're going to skip some of them because one of the other teachers told me some of them were kind of crazy, but here we go, okay? Problem number 1. So number 1, it's page 14. Says the following table shows the value for ticket prices and the predicted profit. Using your calculator, find the quadratic equation, which means we're going to do quadratic regression that represents the solution. So first thing, I want you all to do this real quick. Clear your calc, which is, how do you clear a calculator?
7 plus.
Second plus 7, 1, 2. You're going to have to do this between when you get your test and everything. I'll have you clear them. But if you're ever like, I don't know what's going on, my calculator is being crazy, just reset it. It's easy, okay? Second plus 7, 1, 2. Second plus 7, 1, 2. You don't have to do this between every problem unless you just want to. But yeah, okay? So we are going to run a quadratic regression because we need the equation. We need the equation to get into y equals and do all the stuff. So if you don't know how to do a regression, here is your lesson. You are going to press stat. That button is right here by the X. It says stat on it. Okay? So stat, and you're going to press enter. Technically, the button you are pressing enter on is edit, stat edit. And that's going to take you to this screen. Have you seen this screen before? Yeah. Good. If you haven't, here's how it goes. So you're going to input your table. You're going to put your X values in L1, your Y values in L2. You should never be putting numbers anywhere else, okay? And if L1 and L2 are not there, reset it. You have to put all the numbers exactly as they are. Are you doing this with me? Yes. You should have a calculator in front of you. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Your Y's, which again, these are your X's, these are your Y's. If it's a table, X is usually the top or the left, Y is the bottom or the right. Negative 500, 4,500, 7,500, 8,500. Okay, all the numbers exactly as they are. Takes a little bit of time, but it's all good. Okay, is it pretty?
Do you need to write
They're bigger
use
enough.
this minus thing for the negative 500?
Yes, use a negative. Well, wait, which one? Did you do the negative or the minus? Do the negative. Yeah.
We can simplify.
Okay.
Like once we get the thing, because they're just
No, you're gonna write an equation from that.
from the big
I don't know
ones.
how you. Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
Okay, so
Now what?
at this point, all you've done is enter the data. Are we okay with that? And y'all got to tell me if you don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. All right, so after we do that, then we're going to go our step 2. I'm going to write it, and I would suggest writing it again. There's a lot of words on that front page. Sometimes I like to simplify those. So after you put your data in, you're going to go back to stat, but this time you're going to scroll right to calculate. We actually want to calculate something. You have to put that data in first. We want to calculate, and what do you think we're going to choose? Number 5, which says quad reg, which is quadratic regression. This is how you get an equation. As long as you have at minimum 3 points, you can do this. And this is very easy. And you have a test question like this, and you should get it right because there's not going to be partial credit on this.
There's only one question in this?
One question that involves this, yes. Okay? Because do I need to give you 10? No. I'm just saying you are going to have a test question that says to create a quadratic equation from data. And this is what you're doing. And this is right or wrong, all or none. So make sure that you typed your numbers right.
Oh, so this
Okay?
isn't the only thing in the...
No.
Oh, okay.
This is just the beginning. Okay? All right, let's talk about this screen. It needs to say X list is L1. Don't change this. As long as you've cleared, this should be there. You put your X's in L1. You put your Y's in L2. Don't touch that. I don't have any idea what frequency list does, so ignore it. We don't need to store it, so don't do that. And just scroll to calculate. You can also just hit enter through all of that. So enter through all that. Calculate is how you're actually going to get your answers. And it's going to look like this. It's going to say quad reg at the top. It's going to give you your standard form of your quadratic equation. And then it's going to give you an A, a B, and a C. These are pretty numbers. They're big, but they're pretty. FYI, it's very possible that they are not that pretty. I think we're going to see some where we're going to have some rounding. It's all good. I'm pretty sure they're pretty for this type of question, I think, but I don't know. I haven't worked it yet, but, I'm just trying not to paint in class anymore, so there's that, okay? Y equals, so know how to put this together, okay? Negative 250 x what? Squared plus 4,000 x minus 7,500.
Wow.
Okay? So,
It's pretty big.
again, this is easy. We're not even doing that. Remember, it's calculator stuff here. We don't have to GCF anything. We're not factoring, none of that.
Oh, wow.
We're going to let our calculator do all the work for us. So are we okay finding a quadratic equation from a regression? We got to get that right? It's on the CFU also. Okay.
Okay.
So now let's get into how do we find this graph in y equals. And here's where this calculator stuff can get a little tricky. So let's go put our equation, which we wrote down, in y equals negative 250.
Wait, how do you do that money?
Click Y equals.
You type it.
Just click Y equals. And then,
Plus 4,000x.
It just keeps getting skinnier.
Go back to Zoom 6 and do this with me. Okay, hey, don't mess with your graph right now. Okay? I want to show you how to fix it when you have equations that are kind of crazy, because some of these are, all right? So since we've all cleared our calculator, so everyone typed this equation in.
that is correct.
Okay. So when we clear our calculator, you're resetting all the settings kind of back to factory, which is, it's always going to give you a graph on a negative 10 to positive 10 window on the X and a negative 10 to positive 10 window on the Y. And a lot of times, that's great. We work between numbers like that. But when we get to these real world applications, it's not always going to be between negative 10 and positive 10. So one thing that I would suggest that you do, in between every single equation you're putting in y equals, which you're going to do several today, always press, right now you can just press graph, but I want to show you this button right here because we're going to be talking about Zoom. Does everyone see where Zoom is? Okay? If you're ever lost, your calculator is like, I don't know what I did. It's a mess. Number one, second plus 712. Or number two, if you go to Zoom, there are some options. I'm going to show you an easier way to do it, so don't go pressing buttons. There is zoom in, zoom out. Okay, I don't really use those that much. But do you see number 6, how it says Z standard?
I do.
That means zoom back to the standard window. So I always suggest when you're swapping out equations, I always press zoom 6, and I just always want to start in the standard and see if it works. So go ahead and just press 6 right now, and maybe your graph will fit in there. Maybe it won't. That's what I got.
Mine was pretty quick.
I can't even tell that it's quadratic, so it's not pretty. Press, okay, here's another thing too. Let me redo this so you can see. Okay, I do want to point something out to you. Pause right here. Pause with your clicking. Look at mine. Okay, if I press, because this happened yesterday, if I press graph, and if you accidentally press enter, okay, do y'all see how by the battery charge my calculator is spinning?
Yeah.
That means it's on pause. It's thinking, or if it's like not ever stopping, I could have paused the graph, and I did on purpose by pressing enter. So if I press enter again, it will continue to think, and then it will sketch a graph. And now I know when it's done spinning that it's done graphing. So you might have paused it. Check your equation. Make sure it's right. So I have a negative and everything? Okay. There you go. Okay, so at this point, if we can see, we want to be able to see vertex and roots, and that's kind of all we really care about. I can see one root, but I can't see anything else. This doesn't even look like a quadratic. So here's what I think will really help you if you hit graph and you're like, whoa, no idea. This button right here. We need to set our window, okay? The first thing I would do, again, if you have no idea, go back to Zoom. You're going to have to scroll unless you remember, but I want to show you. When you get to 0, it says
Zoom fit.
Zoom fit. It's the number 0. If you have absolutely no idea where your graph is at all, Zoom fit.
Should we click that right now?
Yeah, so press 0.
Oh my goodness.
So
Jeez.
And this is like, I am so lost. I see nothing. I see a vertical line. I don't know, nothing that helps me. Zoom Fit is a good way to go.
Why did it look straight and
Because we were just way too zoomed in. And the values were changing so quickly that it just looked like it. Because your A value is negative 250. It's changing fast. Okay?
That was Zoom 0.
Zoom 0. Okay? Now, Zoom 0 doesn't always get us exactly where we need to be. Okay? Does everyone's screen look like mine?
Yeah.
So let's go back to the window. No, don't zoom. The only thing I really do is zoom standard and zoom fit. After this point, I just kind of think, where do I want to see more? Okay? I want to see more. I see a root right here, but I know that there's got to be another one over here. So I want to see more to the right. So press window. X minimum is to the left. I don't need to see more to the left, so I'm going to leave that. X maximum is to the right. I do want to see more to the right. Right now it's at 10. Honestly, I don't jump super big on X minimums and maximum. Let's try 20. And this is kind of a guess and check type of thing. So change your X maximum to 20. Press window.
Just press graph again.
Yeah, press graph.
I'm going Matthew. Press graph now?
I know. Yes. Okay. So again, you shouldn't have to change your X minimums or maximums. Like, you shouldn't really go bigger than 100 and negative 100 that I will see. Is everyone okay?
Oh, wait, after you change the thing, how do you get the graph?
Press graph. Press graph.
This is wild.
Okay. Is everyone with me still? Hey, I know. It's a lot. Trust me. But I need you to be quiet and I need you to ask if you're confused. We're going baby steps here, okay? All right, so now I can see my two roots. Here's one thing that I love Zoom Fit if you're totally lost. But I also hate Zoom Fit sometimes because I'm going to go back to window. Everyone go back to window. Your Zoom Fit will make your Y minimums insane. Look at our Y minimum. Mine is at negative 72,500. Okay, that's obnoxious. My Y maximum is at about 8,500. I would like a little more wiggle room at the top. So I'm going to bump that. Your Ys can go pretty big. So if I want to bump that up, I don't know, 10,000.
Wow.
Let's try that. And then usually what I like to do is match my Y minimum, but make it negative. So let's try negative 10,000. It'll just make it a little bit more balanced. I'm at 1,000. I meant to do 10,000.
Skinny queen.
Mine didn't do anything.
Mine became
Mine didn't change
skinnier.
at all.
All right, let me see. A quick recap. They're not all going to take this long, I promise. I'm going extremely slow to show you process. So the first thing I did, if I couldn't tell anything, was Zoom Fit. Okay? After that, I adjusted the window. Your X min and max should not be bigger than, let's say, negative 100 and positive 100. Probably less than that, okay? So I'm at negative, I'm at 20. Y min and max can very much be humongous, okay? But just make sure that the Y minimum needs to be negative. Like, I always match them. The minimum's negative, the maximum is positive, okay? Just to kind of keep it like a nice, pretty square shape is what I think there. So Zoom Fit helps us get sort of in the right place. Adjust the window from there. Sometimes you can just adjust your window from the start. Like, you can tell I just need to see more above or below. Yes?
So for like the
So now that we have all that work just to find the graph, okay? I know. What are we finding? Maximum. That is your code keyword that you're looking for, which is a vertex. But we only want the profit. Profit is which value?
The Y.
The Y. You gotta know which one I'm talking about. Very rarely am I gonna ask you for like the ordered pair. I'm gonna either ask you for what ticket price gives you a maximum or what profit is your maximum. So here's how we do that. Okay?
How do we do that?
Step 1. Second trace. Again, we're calculating something.
Oh my gosh, nice.
We did second trace last time. And you're going to see maximum. Everyone slow down and listen to what I'm going to say. I'm not going to talk this slow between every problem. So hear me once. You will choose maximum. And then remember, your calculator gives you questions. What does the first question say?
Left bound.
That is your calculator saying, hey, are you to the left of the maximum that you want me to find? If you're not, adjust it. But are we to the left? Mine is. So I'm going to press enter.
Matthew, what did you do?
After second trace, what
Maximum 4.
Now what are we doing after we've done that?
Well, now we're looking at the next question.
I'm still on left.
Go to second trace maximum.
I'm still on left.
You might have, here's another thing, guys. Here's another thing. If you accidentally, like, press another button and you lose these words, you lose those words and you just get a random scrolling thing, you got to start over. Go back to second trace and start again. So just be careful not to, like, press buttons, like, as you're moving around, okay? Now, the next question is right bound. So that means scroll to the right. No, you got to actually set a boundary. Set a boundary. So scroll to the right. You can grab a calculator. Press enter. Do y'all see on your calculator, it's kind of faint on mine, but do y'all see, we're never going to finish this if we don't hurry up. Okay, so again, you have to make sure that you've done appropriate boundaries. Y'all kind of see those faint lines on your calculator? Do you see how there's arrows? The 2 arrows should be pointing towards the max, okay? If they're not, then it's not right. We'll fix it. Then it's going to say guess again. We don't ever want to guess. You're going to press enter, and it's going to tell you what your maximum is, okay? So depending on, again, I'm almost kind of done talking through all this stuff, and at this point, we'll just be practicing. So I don't like talking right now either with my hoarse voice. Depending on where exactly you set those boundaries, your calculator may round a little bit differently. Like, for instance, mine said 7 point tons of 9s. Did anybody say 8 point tons of 0s? Did anyone say 8 exactly?
That's a good guess.
No? Okay. So with rounding, I will tell you how to round. And I promise you are going to have some numbers, we'll see some today, that are not perfect pretty like this. But tons of 9s, tons of 0s, we are safe to round those to a whole number. So my vertex is at this point. But what am I actually asking you to find? So what is my answer? $8,500. It's money. You can, yes. The table? Yes, sometimes.
I lost my little friend.
Yes. Okay, so the next question is, what ticket price gives a profit of 0? So profit is our Y value, and we want to know where the Y value equals 0. Y'all, where the Y values equal 0 are what? X-intercepts, also known as zeros, roots, solutions. So this is second trace max or min. Last thing I'm going to show you is how to find roots my way. This might be different than what you know, so listen to it my way. Yep. Don't redo it. Go back to, actually, that's not step 1. First thing to do it my way. We want to know when the Y value is what? 0. Go back to Y equals. Go back to Y equals. I scribbled it out. Go back to y equals. Put 0 in y2. y2 equals 0. Honestly, I would do this my very first problem, and I would leave it there the whole time. Okay? It's going to graph the x-axis in red. And then the way we're going to find our x-intercepts is an intersection between the blue and the red and the blue and the red, which we did last time. Okay? So we put y2 equals 0. Then we're going to do second trace 5, your intersection, and we're going to calculate them just like we did last class. Second trace 5. I'm going to go to the left one first. Near it. Enter, enter, enter. And this is money, ticket price, so we should round to how many decimal places? 2. So 2.169 would be about 2.17. Now, is there another place that your profit is at 0?
Yes.
So do it again. Second trace 5. Scroll to the other one. Just wait. Enter, enter, enter again. And the other one is at 13.83. 13.83. Okay? I like to teach you to calculate your x-intercepts this way because, number one, it's how you can check your systems is finding intersection points. The other thing is, majority of the time, I'm probably going to be talking about where is the y value 0. But if I wanted to say where is the y value, I don't know, 2,000, I could just go put, don't do this, just listen to me. I could go put 2,000 and I could calculate that point the same exact way. So again, it's just like less stuff for you to memorize. If you remember like, hey, I just got to put that equation in. If you do not have the second equation in there, okay? Do I have a second equation in there right now?
No.
Look at what will happen if I try to go calculate an intersection point. There's always like 15 people who come up to me on this day talking about this. Second trace 5. I go scroll and look. Second curve. I'm pressing enter. Is it doing anything?
No.
And why? Because do I have a second curve in there?
No.
No, because I didn't listen to my teacher and do it the right way. So honestly, I would keep y2 equals 0 for the rest of class today. And that'd be one of the first things I do on my calculator there. So again, this was a very slow explanation of kind of everything that's written out on that other page. Let's try another. We okay?
So
Yes.
when you're trying to find the second.
Read the story. Hey, I'm going to shorten some of these notes for you, but I need you to stay with me. A model rocket will be launched from a hill 80 feet above sea level. The launch site is next to the ocean, which is at sea level. The rocket will fall into the ocean. The rocket's distance, d, above sea level at any time is found by the equation. Y'all, this 2 is supposed to be an exponent. Right there. Negative 16t squared. Okay? So, I'm not going to make you draw a graph, but I do think it's kind of helpful to think about what's going on. Okay? So, we've got, I'm just going to draw in the first quadrant because are we going to have negative time?
No.
And negative height? Not on this one. Sometimes you can have negative height going underwater or whatever, but we'll go here. So I'm talking about time on the x and distance from sea level on the y. Okay? Just kind of labeling my independent and dependent variables. And we're launched from 80 feet above, and then we're going kind of like this. It's just a little picture of what should be happening. A lot of times, these are your parabolic motions. They're going to kind of look like that. But I was 80 feet above. If I give you the equation You do not need to worry about anything with the numbers and the problem. Hint, hint. If you've got the quadratic equation, roll with it. Okay? You don't need to worry about kind of get some context on the story, but don't like try to overanalyze. If you've got the quadratic, great, do it. Y equals. Leaving y2 equals 0 in there. Taking the other guy out. Negative 16x squared plus 64x plus 80. Now, we changed our window and it was crazy. Zoom 6. Between every single function that you type, go to Zoom 6 and see what you actually can see. Zoom 6.
Should we grab right now?
Whoa.
Okay,
Oh my goodness.
Oh my.
so you could Zoom fit this. And if you want to, that's great.
I think I did something.
Wait, I didn't like.
You didn't press Zoom 6. You didn't press Zoom 6.
I did that, and then it's an error.
Make sure you didn't type a minus sign instead of a negative.
Yeah, I did something.
Zoom 6.
Zoom 6 like on Y equals
No, or like Zoom and then the button 6.
right now.
Yes. Okay?
Good job.
Oh
So,
my goodness.
again, Zoom fit could work, but can I see both of my roots?
Yes.
Can I tell that I'm going to have a maximum if I just change my window a little bit? So let's go to window and let's make our maximum. Now we're going to have to make it kind of big. Right now it's at 10.
Window.
40.
I'm thinking bigger. I'm thinking 100.
I'm thinking.
Okay.
I'm thinking 100.
Okay, so you want to know why I picked 100? What's the y-intercept?
Oh,
Oh my goodness, it's 80.
So I'll start
So you can
bigger than that.
Now I hit enter.
And then I hit graph.
hello.
Whoa.
Not enough.
It's like a train track.
I was thinking 200.
So then what do? 200. Let's try 200. Remember, we were just at 10,000. So,
This is looking like. This is the max.
200 works.
Right.
Y maximum, yes.
Yes.
So sometimes you can just kind of like, if you know a little bit more from the standard window, you can just kind of guess and check until you find a good one. Zoom fit is for like truly, like, I have no idea. I had a vertical line. That didn't tell me anything.
What did you think of that window?
I had just changed the Y maximum to 200. Everything else stayed the same.
Oh wait, so you still want us to do it negative y minimum?
You can. Like, you could make the Y minimum negative 200. It would be a little more balanced. I just kind of left it. The only time I really change the Y minimum is if I do Zoom fit, because Zoom fit makes it obnoxiously huge. Is it working? Okay. Everyone have a nice, pretty graph.
For the most part.
All right. Question A. Find the time it takes for the rocket to strike the ocean. What are we looking for?
X intercept.
Which one?
The farthest to the right.
The second one. The right
Dude, let's go.
root. Okay?
Right, dude.
Right root. The left one doesn't make sense in the story. The left one's negative. We don't have negative time.
Inside the middle.
So we are going to go to second trace 5.
Second trace.
Scroll to where we landed in the water. Enter, enter, enter.
You have to scroll onto the like.
I just scroll closer to it. So what time? How long did that take?
5 seconds.
5
5 seconds.
seconds. Very good, because that's our unit for time. Doesn't it say?
That was not in there very
Oh,
Do people
It doesn't
calculate
say.
this by hand?
Yeah,
Is that possible?
you can.
How?
You a quadratic formula? I mean, that's how you find a root. This one could probably factor. Okay?
Do that on the daily.
All right, next question. How high will the rocket be after 2 seconds? Is 2 an X or a Y value?
That's an X. That's an X. That's
When X equals 2. Okay? If you want to find a Y value, okay, hold on. You don't have to do second trace.
Oh, no.
This is even easier. When you're given an X value and need to find the Y value with it, you can. 2 options. plug in a 2 into the equation, or if it's a whole number, take yourself to the table. How do you get to the table?
That's gonna be a little.
144 or
Second
That's gonna be stat.
graph.
Ah, that table.
This table. Algebra 1 style.
I thought we were talking about that.
When x is 2, what is y?
144, obviously.
No, I just deleted them.
144 feet. Is that feet?
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3.
So you're finding the y when x is 2. And we did second graph and looked at the table. That's if you know the x and it's a whole number. There is a way to change it, but I don't think I'm going to do that.
Can you repeat
If x is 2, because it says 2 seconds, you're finding the y. If you know, if you are looking for a whole number x, it will be in second graph.
Rose Rock only went 66 feet in the air. That's crazy.
Okay?
Well, he was already on the mountain though, so.
Exactly. So
At what times will the rocket be 80 feet above sea level? What is 80? 80 feet, is that an x or a y?
That's gonna be Y.
So how are you going to do that?
Well, to me, it's looking like
0. That's all. 0.
oh my gosh, you go to the y equals.
And y2, what are you going to put?
80, right? I've done something. Should we go back to second grade?
I like delete.
No, do it at intersection. Do an intersection.
What?
You can't guess.
Where do I go from here?
I wouldn't guess. We're going to get to where the numbers are not pretty. Okay. In this problem,
Wait, I do second trace?
hold on. In this problem, it is in the table.
Oh wait, so you get x equals 2 and then
What?
we get to the table.
Are you still on B?
Yeah.
Because
Okay,
that's what we-
just put the y value when x is 2. That's your answer. Okay, back to C. Okay?
sea level.
She level.
On this particular problem, the answer to C is in the table, both of them. However, you need to know how to find it if it wasn't in the table. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No. Where's it?
You need to know how to do it if it's not a nice, pretty whole number. Hint, hint. It's probably not going to be a nice, pretty whole number on other stuff you're going to do. So I put the height that I was looking for in Y2, and I'm going to go calculate the intersection point, and those X's will be my answers the same way we did A, except for we're looking for 80. So second trace 5 those, 2 separate times, get 2 separate numbers. I wouldn't guesstimate because, again, I feel like the stuff I'm going to give you is not going to be pretty.
I mean, second trace what?
Second trace 5, intersection. Again, like that's why I continue to the intersection.
Boom, boom.
Well, what if you want to see
Oh, we do it in tangent.
You get 9.
X is 0, y is
Oh, I know.
Wait, I'm sure.
18. This way.
Why does that make nice?
Whoa.
Are you on the blue one?
Blue and red. Okay. So again, I continue to use my intersection. If you're ever trying to find a specific y value, 0, 80, whatever I give you on the problem, intersect. Okay? All right, what is the maximum height? What are we looking for?
Just go to the maximum. For sure.
Which is the,
Vertex.
which value? It's a height.
Y.
Y. Okay? So do second trace maximum, scroll to the left, scroll to the right, enter. Second trace max, left bound, right bound, guess is never the answer. Maximum, I got 1 with a bunch of 9s. You could round that to 2. Anybody else get 2 with a bunch of 0s?
I got 2.0018.
I got 2.017.
With a bunch of. Oh, that's a lot more zeros than just 2.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
But, like, I didn't
that
know
makes a
that.
difference.
Uh,
Okay, so
I just didn't want to say it.
what's the height?
100
No,
and
that's the time.
44.
What's the
Oh my
height?
gosh, 144.
The height was 144 feet. What was the max time?
What?
Max time, or the time, that doesn't sound very good.
How long did it
The,
take that time?
how long did it take to reach a maximum?
2 seconds.
That would be 2 seconds. So just pay attention to which one it asks, okay? All right.
That was in the question.
On the next page, I want you to try 3. You can skip 4, and then 5 and 6. 5 and 6 only ask you one question. 3 asks you a series, okay? In case this happens, it's kind of hard to see on mine, but just so you are aware, we did the intersection. See if I can bring that in. Focus. I don't know how to make the focus. Do y'all see what's going on with the X right here? Ooh, is that better? Look at my screen. What does that X say? 6.652 E negative 15. What does that mean?
Times 10?
The equation's not right. Times 10 to the negative 15. So how many zeros are in front of that 0.6? A lot. So what does that round to?
58.8.
0. So if you get E and a negative number, it is probably 0. I don't know why some of the calculators do that and some of them don't. I wish I had the answer. I don't know. But if you get an E, then just come talk to me about it, okay? On number 3, if you can't get a graph, it wasn't super hard to find that graph. If you can't get a graph, come see me, and I'll help you with that. What is A asking for? We haven't done one like this. What is A asking? This is asking for the y-intercept. Do you even need a calculator to do that?
Nah,
You just know it.
What form is the equation in?
dude, it's literally standard form.
Standard form.
Oh my god.
Can you see the y-intercept?
Yes, you see that.
Yeah. 58.8. There we go. How do you do the what? So listen up real quick. I want you to keep working through 3, 5, and 6. Okay, I'm going to put the answers up here so you can kind of see. On the back, 7 and 8 are asking for quadratic equations. Y'all, what does an equation have to have? Do not miss that on the test. It's going to make me really irritated. Both of these, everyone listen. I don't want to have to repeat myself. I'm already losing my voice. On 7 and 8, I want you to round to the thousandths. Is that how you spell that? How many decimals is that? 3. Okay? So round to the thousandths for these. And then after this, your homework practice is only 22 and 23. You know what? I'll make your life easier.
Oh my goodness.
7A, 8A, homework. 7A, 8A, do your homework. Finish this page. 3, 5, 6, 7A, 8A, do your homework.
Oh my gosh.
Because you need a calculator for the homework.
I'm
Just trying to make it easier for you.
Thank you.
Okay?
If you turn your phone
If y'all need help, come to me.